For me, it was not only was it fun, but it was an escape from my pain and just some of my brokenness. Right when I was turning 16 years old, I started skateboarding, and I loved it. I fell in love with it instantly. And I started progressing fairly quickly, got sponsored, and at that point I had a goal. I'm amateur at that point. I had a goal to be a pro skateboarder. I thought, man, I could do this for a living. I could get paid to do what normally I would do for free, so why not? So I went for it. But at this time, my whole pursuit was skateboarding. My whole pursuit was really me. In fact, I would describe myself as probably the most selfish person on the planet. I really did. I was horrible. I was a terrible brother. I was a terrible son. I really didn't do a good job of honoring my parents. I wasn't a good friend. I was really in life for myself. I remember I turned pro, I'm getting paid, I'm traveling the world, and you get paid to ride a piece of wood. And for me, I was really enjoying it, but something thought like that goal, once I obtained that goal, I felt like it was gonna mean more. I felt like there was gonna be some meaning, or it was almost like I was a really broken and unhappy person. And then I thought, as soon as I go pro, it's gonna be it. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be content. I'm gonna have joy. I have this sense of accomplishment, and none of it. It was like a mirage, where you're in a dry desert and you're looking and you think you see water, and as soon as you get over to the water, it disappears and it's still more sand. And it felt like that for me, where I was still empty. I was still angry. My parents ended up getting divorced when I was about 5 years old. So I basically, for the first portion of my life, kind of grew up without a dad. When you grow up with just a broken family, broken families and broken parents create broken kids. I never really had an issue with believing whether or not God was real. I just didn't really want to surrender my life to Him. And I had a warped perception of God. My perception of God the Father there was a lot of similarities with my perception of my dad. And so, I was scared that God would leave me. So I was scared that if I did something wrong, that he'd roll, or because I always thought that maybe my dad left because of me. When I was pro, everybody flowed me, I was got sponsored by drugs. People would just give me drugs and smoke me out all the time. And so for the very first time, I bought drugs, and I bought acid. I bought 2 hits of acid, popped them. Maybe 3 hours into it, I start seeing all these demons all up in my living room in my house. And so I'm thinking I'm tripping, dude. I'm thinking this is a bad trip. And they're cussing at me and they're getting in my face, and I'm terrified at this point. I know what the word torment means now. And I've never been so afraid in my life. I was terrified. And there was nothing I could do to shake it. I would go outside, I'd go out on the patio, go out front, I'd splash water on myself, I'd just try to shake myself free from this, and nothing, I couldn't get away from it. I wanted to commit suicide. I was starting to think all these suicidal thoughts. God thought, man, that's the only way to get rid of them, or kill myself or whatever. And I remember this one demon that was saying to me, you're getting really sleepy. You're going to fall asleep and you're going to die in your sleep, and you're going to wake up in hell. This is what he's saying. And I'm believing it all. I'm believing the lies. I'm still, at this point, I'm not knowing if this is really happening, if it's a nightmare, if it's a bad trip. I don't know what's going on. All I know is I want to get out of this situation. And finally, at what seemed like an eternity, I cried out to God. I said, God, if you're real, make yourself known to me. God, I'm so done doing things my way. I want to submit my life to you. I want to do the best job I can to follow you. As I did that, it was like this blanket of peace is the only way I could describe it. I literally felt the Holy Spirit come and fill my whole entire body. And I had an instant, all these demons scattered. And so whether I was on a bad trip or it was a spiritual experience or whatever, I do know this, that the peace that I experienced, the joy that I experienced, the love that I experienced, the acceptance, like all of a sudden just one moment with God changed my life. It changes the way you do life. It changes the way you see life. It changes the way that you see others. It changes the way you treat others. It changes the way you work. It changes the way everything, like everything changes. Because now you're living life through this different lens. And now it's a lens that I have a creator that loves me, that I don't have to do it perfectly. I don't have to perform to get God's acceptance. He accepts me just like I am. And I noticed it. That point on was significant. It wasn't perfect, and I still struggled, and I still did bad things, and I still said things to people that were hurtful. I wasn't, you know what I mean? I still wrestled through things. He doesn't promise you a trouble-free life, but he does promise that he'll get you through the troubles.